What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for this week's episode of the Thousand Year Blood War anime. And yo, bro, this anime was absolutely batshit insane, man. Holy shit! The art and animation in this episode was a sight to behold, man. This might actually be my new favorite episode of the season so far. I know I said that last week, but shit, bruh. The animation here was absolutely insane, and the fire effects were equally amazing. The effects, everything when it came to animation, storyboarding, directing, everything in this episode was fucking god tier, man. Absolutely god tier. A lot to discuss. A lot of crazy shit happens. But one thing I want to quickly talk about before we jump right in to the actual episode is that I saw actually earlier today, because earlier today I was scrolling through Twitter, and you guys know I don't watch the Bleach episode until after I'm done with class, so I have time and to like do my review and everything and all that shit. But anyway, but earlier today when I woke up and right before I went to class right before I went to class and everything, I was checking Twitter, seeing just seeing what's on the feed, trying to avoid anything relating to Bleach so I don't get spoiled of the actual episode. But I found something interesting. I found this tweet from DBZ Enron, who you guys know is another Bleach YouTuber. We found out that one of the animators that worked on this episode was a man by the name of Ryan White. Now, that may not be sound familiar to you guys, but if you guys are longtime Bleach fans, you may remember this man under a different name, Retro Rhino. Which, for the uninitiated, you guys don't know, Rhino actually or tried to anyway, did a fan anime of the Thousand Year Blood War. This happened like right after the manga ended. Because James was talking about it back then. There was a couple other Bleach YouTubers and everything, and he was working on a Blood War anime, a fan anime, because the official one hadn't got announced yet. So that was pretty cool, and I'm pretty sure the only thing that really that was ever released from that fan anime was just the Byakuya Asnaf fight, at least part of it, if I remember correctly. It's been we're going back to 2016, man. So it's been a minute. So forgive me if I'm getting some of the details messed up, but yeah. So yeah, the guy that did a fan anime of the Thousand Year Blood War got to work on the official anime, which I thought was really fucking cool, man. So shout out to Retro Rhino, man. He got to work on the actual Bleach anime. I don't know what scenes he did or not. I checked his Twitter. He didn't tweet about what part of the episode he did, but I thought that was really fucking cool that he got to work on the actual official anime. Given he made his own fan anime because of course the anime wasn't announced then. But yeah, I thought that was really fucking cool that Retro Reiner was actually one of the animators who worked on this episode. But yeah, anyway, guys, let's jump right into the actual episode. So we start this episode off with Uryu, actually, as he's once again looking through the book he got from his father, which I guess he did take it with him, because I'm pretty sure in the episode we didn't see him actually carrying it in his hand, but whatever. And as he's going through, he finds that there's these two pages stuck together. What were you doing with this book, Ryoskin? I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know. Anyway, he pulls them apart, and we see that's when Uryu finds out that the Quincy extermination operation was 1,000 years ago, not 200 years ago. Then that's when we get back to Yamamoto and Yhwach. Bro, I know I mentioned this already at the start of the review, but oh my god, the animation. First thing first, this man Yamamoto slowly starts to approach Yhwach, and bro, there's legit flames coming off of his feet as he makes every single step. It is absolute mental, man, absolutely mental. And then we see him quick, and then he's like Yhwach's looking at him, and then next thing we know, the camera pans, and we see that Yamamoto is carrying Kenpachi's body as he sets him down. I'm like, well, yo, when did he get there? How did he get so fast? And Yhwach tells him it's been 1,000 years since our last fight. And my man Yamamoto, as he sets down Kenpachi, he tells him, "I've come to put an end to your life." Yamamoto, man, yo, I mentioned before in my previous reviews, you guys know I haven't finished up the entire Bleach anime at the time I'm recording these reviews. But bro, and listen, even before then, I liked Yamamoto whenever he was on screen, man, in those episodes I saw from the Soul Society arc and what I've seen of the Aran card. But bro, this man in the Blood War anime, this man, yo, he is quickly getting up the ranks of my favorite Bleach character. This man is the epitome of badass. Anyway, we get back to Robert and Shuhei, and so and then Robert basically he's talking shit, telling him like, oh, you're not the only one that's getting fired up because our bosses are fighting. And then that's when we quickly get to Asnot and a couple other of the Quincy's all try to gang up on Yamamoto. And of course it goes about as well as you would think with this big ass fire explosion. I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier, but Jesus Christ, bro, the fire effects in this episode were insane. Like they looked absolutely incredible. And I love the shots we get of Toshiro, Soifan, and Kamamura as they all just sit as they're all fighting their opponents. They have like the fire explosion in the background, man. It looks incredible. The storyboards in this episode were absolutely insane, man. And then my man, as if he wasn't badass and base enough, he says, "Fools!" Yes, he goes into his inner Excalibur from Soul Eater and says, "That is what you get for trying to interrupt our fight." As we see their bodies burnt to a crisp in these flames, bro. It is absolutely just insane. So then Yamamoto charges towards Yhwach and manages to slice up his arm, causing and like the blood starts running from his arm and goes to the floor, and we start to see it, and we see the blood start to start steaming because of course of how freaking hot it is. And that's when Yamamoto tells Yhwach that the bad habit you have of selling your subordinates short ends here. As we get some quick flashbacks, which this happens throughout the rest of the episode, where we get these flashbacks back to when Yamamoto and Yhwach first faced off 1,000 years ago, and they looked incredible, man. I love the red and blue flames, man. It looks absolutely incredible. And so then this is when they start hitting us with the fucking Sakuga, bro, because Yamamoto charges towards him, and bro, the shot of him just speeding right towards him, and like and Yhwach just barely dodging his sword. Oh my god, that shot, it looked absolutely insane. They start going at it, man. Like I said, the animation is absolutely insane. Then we just get this absolutely legendary shot after Yamamoto, or first off, actually, before we get to that shot, one of the things that I thought was just absolutely just batshit insane about this episode is that as they're fighting on one of the rooftops some of the tiles on top there get thrown at Yamamoto, and my man Yamamoto just like throws them right back at Yhwach just with like a single scream, man, with like flames coming out of them too. It's like, bruh, this man is so OP. So anyway, back to the shot. So after he like dodges those attacks and gets back to the ground, the camera pans around Yhwach's back, and then we see Yamamoto's just standing there right behind him, ready to strike him down, bro. Oh my! And then we just get these amazing flames, and as he attacks Yhwach, but Yhwach manages to block it, and that's when he pulls out his sword. Now, one thing I found kind of interesting about Yhwach's sword, at least this one sword, because I guess we find out what his actual sword looks like at the end of the episode, is that it's shaped very similar to Ichigo's Zanpakuto, at least in the front of it, where it has like where it kind of like curves at the beginning and kind of has like the blade kind of go in like a C motion around the front of it by the hilt. That's something I kind of knows. I don't know if that's supposed to mean anything, if Yhwach and Ichigo are supposed to have some sort of connection, or what. But I thought that was interesting how his sword it looks similar to Ichigo Zanpakuto a little bit. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So then Yamamoto tells me, "Oh, you drew your sword out. You talk as though you were waiting for it. Do you want to know why I was waiting for it?" And Yamamoto, my man, this man is as he says, "Your flesh, blood, sword, and soul. I intend to crush you until there is nothing left." Bruh. And then, as the flames start getting higher and bigger on his sword, they just instantly vanish, implode, and all of a sudden, it's the sky is clear. It's bright. It's bright ass day. It's like, what the fuck? Like what happened to all of this? And then we start seeing like those wave effects you see on screens whenever like you're in like a desert or something to show off how hot it is. And so I guess Yamamoto's Bankai could somehow turn the entire Soul Society into a fucking desert, because then we see Junichiro, saying like his throat feels dry. They're both sweating. Then you had Shuhei, like his lip just cracks open, and Isane is like, "Oh, my skin feels dry." So yeah, I guess the power of Yamamoto's Bankai is so strong that it can turn the Soul Society into a desert. Okay, I mean, all we're missing is a sand, but yeah. But then this next part though, so what I thought was awesome, where then we cut over to Toshiro as he's fighting the Quincy he's fighting, and then we see obviously because Toshiro's Bankai and Hyonimaru is based off ice, you put that in a desert, it's obviously gonna start freaking melting, and so we see that Hyonimaru's Bankai on him starts to melt away because of the heat, and that he no longer can use it. And so then we're back to Yamamoto. That's when we finally get the shot that whether you are a manga reader or you're an amulet that's seen this panel a handful of times on Twitter, we finally see the iconic shot of Yamamoto announcing his Bankai, Zankai no Tachi. Now, obviously, yes, it's not as detailed as it was in manga. But unless you're some retarded Yhwach fan that doesn't know the first thing about the anime industry, this is nothing new. Either way, still looks fucking badass as hell. And I love the design and the look of his Bankai, where you see his sword is like scorched with like the flames, and it just once again the fire effects look absolutely insane. And then Yhwach tells the blonde Quincy that it's a Bankai that seals all of his flames within that single thing, and everything it cuts is burned by an explosive flame. It is the sword. It is a sword of hellfire, and Yamamoto, because this man is not badass enough. As he tells him, like, oh, you have seen this Bankai 1,000 years ago, haven't you? But is it the same as it was when we first met? Feel for yourself whether it's the same. And then he puts the Bankai like mere inches away from his face, which just absolutely badass, man. Like I said, Yamamoto, so fucking bad. So then he charges towards Yhwach. Yhwach barely manages to dodge his attack, but his like clothes get ripped up a little bit. He's wondering where the hell all the flames are at, and questions if the Bankai's changed it all. And so then as like in slow mo, as Yhwach is like backing away from it, we see Yamamoto's Zanpakuto like taps the ground beneath him, taps it with the tip of his sword, and it legit splits the ground in two, causing this huge ass crater, bro. And I'm like, fam, like you guys all see when the reaction drops, but like, bruh, when I fucking saw this shit, I lost my goddamn mind at how obnoxiously overpowered this sword is, bro. Like, so now they're both up in the sky. Yhwach is like using the debris to try and stop Yamamoto, but obviously that's not working. Then they land on one of the rooftops. We find out that this attack is Zankai no Tachi East, and that basically it contains all the flames within the sword and focusing all the heat on the tip of the blade. It does not burn, nor does it emit explosive flame. It just completely annihilates anything it touches. Which then we see it again as he goes for another attack on Yhwach. Yhwach manages to dodge him, but he taps like the roof that they're on, and once again it completely just gets obliterated. And like basically a good chunk of the Soul Society as well with the attack. Like, bro, this shit is absolute madness, man. Absolute madness. So Yhwach then tries to strike Yamamoto, and it looks like you think he got hidden, but then we see a sword and it's broken. It got completely, and the blade just got completely broken off, man. And this man is so badass, man. We get some more flashbacks to back to their first fight, and he says, "Today I will force you to remember that you are all nothing but a horde of corpses just waiting to be burned." As he then gets completely engulfed in flames. This is the West version of the Yokai no Tachi. This time, this is at this point, this man is just flexing his point, and we find out that his body and his entire body and soul are basically enveloped by the fucking sun, and the flames this thing emits are 15 million degrees Celsius. Yes, you heard that right. Which I did the conversion to see how much that was in Fahrenheit, and if I'm reading this right, that is 27,032 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, this hot as shit. And obviously he can't touch him, otherwise he would get just completely just turned to ash in an instant. And like, oh, then, oh, I love the shot. Where then we see the floor itself under Yamamoto's feet starts to melt away, become molten just because of how hot it is, bro. And just like once again, the fire effects look absolutely insane as the ground starts melting. And then we just get this amazing shot of Yhwach, who is actually looking a little scared now after he tells him that he's getting completely enveloped by the sun with how powerful these flames are. And then we just get this amazing shot as the camera pans away, or just pulls back from Yamamoto over to Yhwach, and as like, and the flames just get bigger and bigger as it pulls away, man. It just looks absolutely insane. That's probably one of my favorite shots in the entire episode, man, was that one. I love that shot. Ugh. The art animation in this episode was, like I mentioned, I know I sound like a broken record because how many times I've mentioned it, but it bears repeating, man. The art animation in this episode was fucking insane. Anyway, we then head back to Uryu, who says that 1,000 years ago the Quincy's invaded the Soul Society because they wanted to annihilate all the Hollows. They got annihilated. Then 200 years ago was when the Soul Society went to annihilate the rest of the remaining surviving Quincy's. Then Yamamoto decides just to start fucking with Yhwach because why the hell not? He tells like, oh, are you just gonna stand there? What's the matter? He's like, sorry, that question was spiteful. Your sword is broken. There's nothing really you can do. You can run if you want, except I'll quickly catch up to you and kill you. And bro, and Yamamoto's expression as he says that, man, like, oh my god, the voice acting, ugh, chef's kiss, absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see this with the dub, man. This episode is going to be absolutely insane when the dub cast gets to this. So then Yhwach pulls out one of his Quincy arrows and fires at at Yamamoto, excuse me. And of course, Yamamoto instantly deflects it with his sword, bro. Like, just no question, no challenge whatsoever. So then Yamamoto lightly levitates before charging towards Yhwach. And bro, like once again, the fire effects of the molten like floor as Yamamoto like lightly levitates above the ground. Oh my god. Ugh. The effects work of this episode was absolutely insane. So then he charges towards and bro, they start playing the Quincy theme. So you know shit's about to go down. Shit's about to get real, man. Oh my god. And I got fucking hyped. Yhwach unleashes a defensive attack called Skunk Zinger, if I'm pronouncing it right. Probably not, but ultimate Quincy defensive attack. You get inside, you get torn apart by God's light. Yamamoto reminds him that he can't harm him, stabs his sword into the ground, and says, "The dead, the ashes of those who will perish by my flame. Give me a hand, and I will give you a moment's joy of battle." And then the floor starts to just completely he breaks apart under his foot, and that's when we get the next direction of his Bankai. Zanko no Tachi South, and it's an obnoxiously long name. I'm probably gonna butcher the pronunciation, but it's like Kakajuma no Kushida Shojin. If I pronounce it, I think I got most of it right, but I probably mispronounced it a little bit. Anyway, these skeletons start rising from the ground like they're freaking zombies, and oh my god, bro, the sound effects they use for the skeletons as they start like crawling around and getting up. Oh, perfect. And I love the look of them. Obviously, a majority of them were done with CGI. The CGI on them looks incredible. Love the red look of them. Some of them got like hair on them still. Looked really fucking creepy and super badass, man. I love this was awesome. They all start like hobbling and like walking towards Yhwach. And as Yamamoto explains, I awaken those that I have slain by the heating of my sword. These awakened dead become my limbs and chase down those I deem enemies until they turn to dust. And they start crawling on top of Yhwach. Yhwach screams before he jumps out there, tries charging towards Yamamoto, but they ended up like coming together like it's freaking World War Z and build like a wall right in front of him, stopping him from getting close to them. And it says, your mouth works well, but your eyes don't work at all. And then that's when Yhwach starts to see skeletons turning into his former comrades. Which I'm like, bro, Dad, Yamamoto, this man is just straight savage. As these skeletons start turning into his past subordinates. They all start once again. They all start climbing over him. Yamamoto then kind of explains a little bit more on how the Quincy steal and Bankai thing works. Where it seems like more or less that how they're able to steal the Bankais is by learning its power and understanding. And the reason they couldn't steal Yamamoto's Bankai, at least yet, was because they did not know its full power. So that also begs the question: is the reason why they couldn't steal Ichigo's Bankai as well because they don't understand the full power of Ichigo's Bankai? Probably. Good chance that's probably the reason why they can't get Ichigo's Bankai as well. So then he just starts walking away. Yes, my man just turns his back to Yhwach and just starts walking away. And then Yamamoto, as he starts screaming out, Yamamoto says, it seems that even you still had some humanity left in them." And as Yhwach starts walking towards Yamamoto, like stepping on all the skeletons stepping off the skeletons and pushing them away from him, defeating and killing and smashing all of his slain comrades that were already dead. One shot I liked in particular was when he like puts his foot on like the skull of one of the skeletons and just completely just like breaks under his foot. I thought that shot was really fucking cool. So as he breaks throughout all of these or on the process of trying to get past all these skeletons. Then we get this amazing shot of Yamamoto from when he was younger, and he says, "But none of what you're experiencing could compare to the hatred and suffering of the Soul Reapers that you've killed." And as he's like saying that and slowly moving his head upwards, the camera flashes back and forth between Yamamoto present and Yamamoto the past, which looked absolutely incredible, man. Like I said, the art animation in this episode was insane. I love this episode. Ugh, so good. And then that's when he unleashes the final direction, Zankan no Tachi North, Tenchi Kaijin, if I pronounce that right. And oh my god, this has to be the cleanest, absolutely cleanest, sickest transition in the history of anime, where you have the black screen with like the kanji of all of them in that brush form that anime loves to do, and the man just slices through it. Oh my god, that has to be the cleanest transition ever in anime. That was so amazing. And the art animation of the flames and everything. Oh, as he just like completely annihilates everything, bro. Oh my god, it looked incredible, man. Like, oh, that shot. Ugh. I know I've been gushing about the art animation throughout this entire review, but I bears repeating it because it's so fucking good, man. The directing, the cinematography, the storyboarding, the art animation, the music, the sound effects, everything about this episode was peak. So then finally, with Yhwach almost completely sliced in half, is when Yamamoto gets rid and stops using his Bankai, and then it just starts raining throughout all the Soul Side. Just starts raining, and then as Yamamoto is walking away from, which kind of surprised me. I thought he was gonna just like go out there and like slice his head off to make sure he was actually like dead, to make sure of it this time. But anyway, also I gotta say the commercial cards we got, the artwork on those looked absolutely incredible. Oh my god, they looked so clean, man. I love the artwork they used for the commercial cards for this episode. So Yhwach starts saying, "I'm sorry, please forgive me. I couldn't follow your orders." And Yamamoto's like, "The fuck you talking about, dude? Like you're the one that started this war and you've lost. Who are you talking to?" And then he says, "I'm sorry. Master Yhwach," and then boom! Giant explosion destroys the first squad barracks, and of course the actual Yhwach finally appears behind Yamamoto. That shot looked also fucking amazing as well. So we find out this entire time Yamamoto has been fighting an imposter of Yhwach, the Stern Reiner Y, I believe his name was, the Yourself. And so then he tells him like, "Oh, you made sure no one was around. Good job." And of course the Quincy's like, "Oh, you said I did a good job, sir. Thank you. It's an honor." As he like completely like annihilates him, and all's left is his foot or his like boot. So then that's when Yhwach, asks him what is beneath the first squad barracks, and it's the Grand Prison, which of course is where Aizen is being held at. So I got excited because I'm like, oh shit, we're finally gonna see Aizen. We're gonna finally see Chair-sama. It's gonna be awesome. Unfortunately, there was no Chair-sama in this episode. I guess we're gonna be seeing that later on. But we see Yhwach met up with Aizen as Yamamoto was fighting, and he basically tries to recruit Aizen to the Quincies. And surprisingly, Aizen refuses, saying he does that the Quincy that he can't stand the Quincy King following the footsteps of a Soul Reaper. So that's basically where that ends. That actually kind of surprised me that Aizen didn't want to join him. So that's a bit. I'm very curious to know what Aizen's gonna be doing in this arc because I basically know nothing of what his role is gonna be other than, of course, Chair-sama. So I'm curious to know what role is he gonna be. Is he just gonna be standing on the sidelines watching this all unfold? Is he going to pick a side? Is he going to work with the Soul Reapers? Will he eventually work with the Quincies? I'm very curious to know where Aizen is going to stand during the rest of this arc and where his allegiances will lie, or if he's just gonna stay just chilling it on Chair-sama. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. So then Yhwach tells like, "You have exhausted yourself using your Bankai on him, haven't you?" And so then Yamamoto tries to use his Bankai again, but then of course that's when Yhwach, is able to absorb and steal his Bankai. So we find out that the actual reason behind this is not because they just couldn't steal Yhwach's or Yamamoto's Bankai. I don't know why I keep getting their names mixed up. Too many damn Y's. But the reason it wasn't because they couldn't, they just didn't understand the power of it. It's because that Yamamoto's Bankai is too powerful that nobody other than Yhwach, could steal it. Which could also mean why Kage and the other guy, I'm forgetting his name, couldn't steal Ichigo's Bankai was because Ichigo's Bankai is too powerful for them to absorb it. So that could be another reason why the Quincy's have had no love taking Ichigo's Bankai. And so then the tables turn. Yhwach pulls out the Uno reversal card. Says like, now I have access to your Bankai, and I can awaken the corpses of your subordinates. So then Yhwach tries to go after. So then Yamamoto tries to go after Yhwach. Yhwach then like summons his giant ass bow above him that fires like an arrow to the ground. That I guess is Yhwach's actual sword. And then, of course, he strikes down Yamamoto, one-shots him, and the shot of it looked absolutely crazy. It looked absolutely amazing, excuse me. Loved it. It was black and white, very much like the manga. Looked amazing, man, and just, yeah, that is where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. I was so pissed off that this was the end of the episode, man. Such an amazing episode. The fight, the art and animation was absolutely incredible, man. I love this episode, man. Like I said, probably my new favorite episode of the season so far. The animation was just too damn good, man. And bruh, looks like Yamamoto's gonna be dying, or maybe he'll survive, and we'll see more of him. We'll have to wait and see on that. But the man definitely got fucked by Yhwach in this episode. And yeah. So anyway, guys, overall, I'm gonna give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.
Yhwach